Those who have helped to draw this carapace of poison over the West point out apologetically that the chemical extermination of wild animals, especially predators, is an American tradition. In the last decades of the 19th century, grizzlies and wolves and coyotes, as well as dozens of smaller species, were poisoned by the hundreds of thousands. They got rid of the wolves in Wyoming because they were killing a few calves and a few horses, says Wyoming game warden Darwin Creek. And they wound up with so much poison around the state that nobody could own a dog for 10 years. In those times, the main poisoning agent was strychnine, an organic substance which decomposes in the open and eventually becomes harmless. Today's workhouse poison, the synthetic 1080, decomposes only when it is burned up or immersed in large quantities of water, and then slowly. When an animal ingests 1080, the poison remains in his system unchanged and kills the next animal to feed on the victim, and the next animal after that, in mortal chain reaction. Eric Peacock, a government biologist, reported that 1080 has the potential of a biological high explosive. But this report did not slow its use by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Peacock's employer. One evening, a Colorado trapper returned home to find his 11 trailhounds stretched out in rigor mortis. Investigation revealed that one of them had fed on a 1080 treated sheep carcass. The others had died from eating his vomitus, distributed in neat piles about the yard. To add to the efficiency of super poisons like 1080, there is a new sophistication of poisoning technique. Once the West was protected by its very limitlessness. A pioneer might strap on snowshoes and trek 10 miles across a mountain, shoot a grizzly, lace its body with strychnine, and call this activity a day's work. But nowadays the rancher spreads his poison from airplanes, trail bikes, tough pickups that carry him and his thallium bait bucket and his coyote getters to every corner of the range in a few easy hours. The Western stockman who does not engage in such jolly practices is branded an eccentric, and those who cry out against this drenching of the American landscape with poison are called little old ladies in tennis shoes. In sheep country, there is no harsher epithet. The whole sheep range out there, why, that whole country's plastered with poison, says Paul Maxwell, crusty former trapper and bulldozer operator and now president of the National Council of Public Land Users. As soon as it gets cold enough so the poison baits'll keep, they've got traps and 1080 stations and getters and strychnine and arsenic and everything else all over this countryside, and hardly any of it marked. The people who could crack down on this, the Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and the different state fish and game commissions, why, they're advocating poisoning too. The people we're entrusting with taking care of our public land, the bastards are out there contaminating it. I assume they must be padding their pockets from the stockmen, says an equally perturbed Wyoming trapper. Up here, they're killing wild animals faster than they can be born. The sheepmen that use the national forest for grazing go in with sacks and sacks of strychnine pellets, some in peanut butter, some in honey, and throw them around like seed, and kill everything in the area before they bring their sheep in.